wear quite a few different hats here. We have a business, we have a tribe, and most importantly, I'm also a spiritual leader for the tribe. So I'm like the president of a country because we are a sovereign nation here on our reservation, so it's sort of like being the president of the country. And the other hat I wear is the chairman of the board for Mohegan Sun Casino. So I'm responsible for all the day-to-day activities and all the decisions that are made down in the casino. My name was given to me at our homecoming many years ago by a man called Slow Turtle. He was from the Wampanoag tribe. He's passed away a few years ago. He was a medicine man, the supreme medicine man for all the Algonquin tribes. So in our eyes, he was like the Pope for Indian tribes on the East Coast here. So being blessed by Slow Turtle with the name of two dogs, which some days there's a big science to getting a name, and some days it's as simple as I had my two Labradors with me, Bud and Haley, and he blessed me with the name of two dogs. My name is Two Dogs, and I speak Mohegan language well. The Wampanoags use the Algonquin language, the Narragansetts, the Mohegans, the Pequots, some of the Oneidas. That's where the language came from. And our language not really died, it was kind of tucked away. In 1908, our last fluent speaker, Fidelia Fielding, had passed away. And here in the United States and on the East Coast, using our language was not accepted. Dressing in our clothes, our regalia, was not accepted. It was pretty much against the law. So anything that we did with language was out in the woods. We knew that we had a limited language 300 years ago. There were only so many things that you could, talk about. Most of it was sign language. You could use your hands, you could tell stories with your hands. And today we had to create a new, modern Mohegan language book because we're using telephones. We're talking about a casino, a car, a dinner plate, things that we didn't talk about before. The recognition process took many years to get there. We went through the process. The federal government was looking for some political, social contact that the tribe maintained over the years. Again, not everything was publicized, what we did. So we had to, put the documents together, how we kept our church, going. We have a 1/4 acre with a Mohegan church that was built in the 1800s. In our heart, we knew who we were, but the federal government finally recognized us in 1994.
And we now are officially recognized as a...
Well, we were fortunate enough to have leaders in the past that committed funds to carry on for where we are today to provide the health care instead of making every person in this tribe rich. We're healthy and we can go to school anywhere if we choose to. Any adult, any child, your education is paid for also. So that is the great investment that the Mohegan people have made into their own people to preserve 13 generations, which is what Chief Uncas 13 generations ago said that he wanted every leader to do going forward, which every leader from the day of Uncas has to look ahead 13 generations. That's where I am today, looking ahead 13 generations, trying to preserve our tribe. When winters came, you would see families come together into long huts called longhouses, and you'd have 5, 6, 7, 12 families in one longhouse, pulling together all their food that they saved for the summer, getting through the winter, telling stories. In the wintertime, you tell all your stories. In the summertime, you wouldn't, because in our culture, your plants listen to what you're saying. So in the wintertime is when you did all that, because you didn't want the plants not to grow in the summer, because the corn would listen to you, the beans would listen to you, the squash would listen. So you did that in the wintertime. So life back then was all about survival. Take what you need, give back what you can. Famous line from out west, from Sitting Bull, I think may have said that. If you planted, you took care of your plants, and if you disturbed anything, you made sure you compensated on another spot for what you were taking out. So you always had plenty of everything. You never took all the berries. You never took, because the animals had to eat too. So being a glutton yourself, taking all the berries so the deer couldn't eat, because you had to rely on the deer. Without the deer, you wouldn't have your skins for your clothes, you wouldn't have your meat to feed your family, so it was a trickle-down effect. Meeting the Queen of England was a great experience for me. Very interesting story. Back in the 1700s, our chief, Muhammad was going over to England with John Mason, a European. And Queen Anne had given us a deed to our land here. We had that and said, this is Mohegan land, this is yours. Time had passed, and the settlers were encroaching around our property and taking our land. And they wouldn't honor the deed that we had from England. So Muhammad and John Mason went over to England to see King George to explain that your people are not honoring your deed. It's just not right. He died of smallpox over there. And when a chief dies, there's always a monument put up somewhere. Not near the gravesite, but always somewhere. And Muhammad had never had a monument put up. We wanted to put a monument over there honoring him. And we got a phone call from Mr. Tuttle, the United States ambassador over there. And he asked if the Queen could participate in our ceremony to honor our chief. So I thought about it for about half a second and said, sure. So we had a great time. We did everything in regalia over there, all of our ceremonies, full headdress. Went through the whole process with the Queen's staff of how you're supposed to act towards her, what you say, things you do. And the next day, she came to the cathedral while we were doing our ceremony, and I gave her a copy of the document that Muhammad had brought over there. Presented it to her in the church through the whole ceremony. But she treated me as an equal. And she made sure to let me know that, we're the same. You're the leader of a sovereign nation. I'm the leader of a sovereign nation. We're on the same plane here. Never mind all that stuff they told you yesterday about how you act towards me. We're equal. Our 10,000 employees that we have, that is the key to our success. That makes this place number one. Every person that works here feels a piece of ownership. And they feel like they're part of a bigger family, and they are. They're part of our family. We provide a daycare facility, an employee center where they have a gym, computer room, pharmacy, health wellness center, parking, cleaners. Everything that they need is here. They are the reason that we are as successful as we are today.